Today we will analyze the case of Germanwings 9525 and discuss which type of crisis it is with its attribution analysis. But before we begin, we will define briefly what constitutes a crisis. Some elements to identify that a crisis is truly a crisis are the threats to the vital interest of the organization, the survival of the organization, the unpredictable factor, and the necessity of a prompt response. Before defining the type of crisis, we must carry out an attribution analysis in order to define well the type of crisis and assess well what our approach should be. Firstly, considering the attribution point of view, in other words, who is responsible, we should have in mind that Germanwings was the one the public blamed. It was the one who was manifested as responsible and the one who was thought that had to pay for damages, although it was the deliberate actions of Andreas Lubitz that caused the incident due to his suppression. Secondly, we have relationship management. The company had to do a great effort to maintain stable and healthy relationships. Consequently, due to the crisis, Germanwings lost support from their shareholders and their relationships with their customers were really affected since the public had no trust in the company and felt insecure. Finally, the third pillar we will take into account is neo-institutionalism, which refers to up to what extent can a crisis be supported by law. In this case, although the company fulfilled their responsibilities, the belief was that they could have done more. Yet, the one to be legally blamed for the accident was the pilot Andreas, since the deaths were his responsibility. To finalize, we will briefly explain the type of crisis we have identified this event to be. We have categorized it as a transgressional type of crisis, because it was an intentional action taken by the pilot, who in this case belongs to the company, and involves risk for the public and harm. A good approach for this type of crisis, theoretically, would be to be reliable and assume responsibilities. The crisis was internal and it was intentional, therefore it is believed to be controllable. This means damages are big, so the approach is to admit errors and be close to the victims and the public and offer support. Thank you for listening. This has been an identification of the type of crisis and its attribution analysis.